Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the English class. So, I am Safa Khan and my roll number is 25, section purple, class 5th. And you all know that I study in school GVEI, that is Green Valley Educational Institute. So, let's get started. So friends, today I'm going to teach you chapter number 9 from our book Raindrops, that is Po. First of all, I like to tell you that a biography is a story of a person's life written by someone else, while an autobiography is the story of a person's life written by the person himself or herself. So, now let's read about Po. Read about Po, a person who loved and cared for the author ever since he was a baby. The author shares some heartwarming stories of the many things Po did for him. But who is Po? So, this story is an autobiography story written by Abraham Tuzo. So, we will read about Po. She's a person who cared and loved and cared for the author ever since he was a baby. Po also shares some heartwarming stories of the many things Po did for him. But now we'll read that who is Po. So let's get started. Section 1. I was only 2.5 months old when I first met Po. The time was November 1978. The place was Grandpa's house in Taipei, Taiwan. My mom took me with her to Taiwan for a visit. She could not wait to show off her brand new baby boy to all the friends and relatives back home. At first sight, Po picked me up from Mom's arms, as if I was Po's firstborn. I made a quite impression on everybody there because I was crying as if I had been stabbed by a sharp pin. Having just been on a 15-hour flight, Mom was too exhausted to calm me down. So Po held me and cuddled me so that Mom could get some rest, walking and rocking me back and forth in the living room throughout the night. Po was finally able to put me down. Po must have had very sore arms and feet that first time we met. Although I was too young to actually remember anything, I could just picture in my mind years later when Mom told me about it. So, Abraham is telling us that he was only 1.5 months when he first met Po. So, that time he met Po was 1978 in Grandpa's house. Po lived in Taipei, Taiwan. So, Abraham's mom took her to Taiwan for a visit. Now, she has no time for showing off her brand new baby boy to all the friends and relatives to home. At the first sight, the Po picked him up from Mom's arms, and if he was born a baby boy of Po, not of his mother. Then he just made a quite impression on everybody. He attracted everybody because he was too crying as if he was pricked by a sharp pin. He was having 15-hour flight. That's why her mom was too exhausted to calm him down. So Po uh, put him in her arms and cuddled him all the night. She was walking and rocking at the fort in living room throughout the whole night. Now Paul was finally able to put him sleep. Then Paul was having so tired arms and feet. Then, although he was too young to actually remember anything. Actually, her mother, Abraham's mother, told him all the story, and he's just capturing the pictures in his mind. So let's move ahead. My next meeting with Poe took place when I was 2 years old. Mom was offered a teaching job at a private university in Taiwan. We stayed at Grandpa's four-bedroom flat in Taipei. Poe lived there too. I had a sore nose bleeding problem at that time. For some unknown reason, my nose would bleed heavily at least 2 or 3 times a day. Both Mom and Paul were very worried. Mom took me to many doctors, but none of them seemed to help. Paul asked around among friends and found about an experienced experience experience experienced Chinese herbal doctor. Mom decided to give it a try. After the herbal doctor had felt my pulse from both wrists, he wrote a long prescription in Chinese character. So what when he again met with Po, he was 2 years old, and her mother had a teaching job. But what Abraham was having too heavily nose bleeding problem. So very bad nose bleeding problem caused her mother and Po so worried. So mom took him to many doctors, but none of them can help. People asked her friends about it, and she noticed told him about a herbal doctor, and mom and Po give it a try to a herbal doctor. Now they were going to give it a try to a herbal doctor. They need to see that how will the herbal doctor help, because every of the grandma's grandma's friends told them that go to the herbal doctor and go to the herbal doctor. So she decided to go to herbal doctor. Now what next? After trying the herbal doctor, when she goes to the herbal doctor, so the doctor just checked both of wrists, and he wrote a long prescription. Prescription is the paper in which the doctor writes some instruction and names of medicine. So he wrote a long prescription in Chinese. So let's move ahead. Mom told me that there were at least 20 herbs including in the prescription. But that was nothing compared to what we had to do with the prescription afterwards. Mom brought home a huge bag of herbs which had been carefully measured and mixed and separately packed and sealed at the herb store. to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start simmering one pack of the herbs for 4 hours every day became a ritual for Mom and Po. It was very important that the heat and the amount of water be just right at all times so that the medicine would work properly. Since Mom had a busy schedule and the university, Paul offered to do it all alone so that Mom could concentrate on her teaching. So now, um, his mom bought a huge bag of herbs that was included in the prescription, but that was easy compared to uh, what we had to do with the prescription afterwards. Now, what? Mom brought home a huge box of her, which had been carefully measured and mixed and separately packed and sealed at the herb store. So, uh, Mom and Po need to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and they have to start cooking on a low flame one pack of the herbs for 4 hours every day. Became it became a ritual. Ritual means it became a habit now for Mom and Po. Now it was very very important that they have to give heat and amount of water to these medicine that it would work properly. since mom since his mom had a busy schedule at the university because she was a teacher, so Paul offered to do it all alone so that Mom could concentrate on her teaching. Now let's move ahead on section 2. It was very difficult to make me drink 3 times a day after meals. The brown liquid made the dark brown liquid made from all the herbs. I'm sure it was the most horrible tasting medicine that anybody has ever had to take. I was only 2 years old and was way beyond reasoning. It took both great effort and patience to get the medicine carefully prepared. It took Paul even greater effort along with some magic to actually manage to get the yucky liquid into that stubborn little mouth of mine 3 times a day. So what in the section 2, it was very difficult for Abraham to drink 3 times after meal this yucky liquid. It was dark brownish in color and it was made by all of the horrible tasting herbs. So what now? He was sure that the most horrible tasting medicine that anybody had ever to take was he drinking. He was only 2 years old, and he was not able to understand why something was important. It took Paul great effort and patience to get the medicine carefully prepared. It took Paul even greater effort, along with some magic, to actually manage to get the yucky liquid, the disgusting medicine, into that stubborn little mouth of mine. At least at 3 times a day. That was too hard for Abraham. So by the end of the 8th month, I was completely cured. So what now? At the time of the 8th month, he was completely cured. When he After 8 months, he was now a big child. Now he was very, 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 and very um angry of drinking daily the yucky medicine, the yucky liquid. He hated it most. But I was completely cured. But he was completely now cured, means he was not completely fine. Po, on the other hand, had lost about 20 pounds. So Po had been lost 20 pounds. Because of caring, she had been many of hardships to cross, and she at least she just lost 20 pounds. That was too tough for Po. Though we returned to America after 1 year, Po and I have met many times since then. Then, after Abraham was fine, they again go to America, and after all, they met many times. Sorry, my voice was just disconnected. Yes, so they just meet to Taiwan to America most of the times. So now then, let's move ahead. Then Po and I have met many times since then. Mom continued to go back to Taiwan for short-term teaching assignments. She took me with her at least once a year, and we got to spend a lot of time with Po on each visit. Every time we came back to the States, our suitcase would be overflowing with food, clothes, and toys that Po had bought for us. So he's telling us that her mother had lots of work because she's a teacher. Then she got at least in 1 year one time to Taiwan for a short visit. And then they like this. They every time meet at one after a year and year. So when they come back, their suitcases were overflowing. Their suitcases were full of food, clothes, and toys that Po gave to Abraham. To Abraham. When Po saw us off at the airport, I could not hide my feelings very well. Trying to cheer me up, Po said, "Don't be sad, Abby. We'll see each other again sooner than you think. Besides, we'll always be together in our hearts." However, I detected some shakiness in Po's voice and tears in Po's eyes. So what then? Then when the Abraham was going back to America, so he could not hide his feelings, but he was near to cry. But Po said, "Don't be sad, Abby." He said to Abraham that, "Don't be sad, Abby. We'll see each other again sooner than you think. But we'll always be together in our hearts. You'll be always in my heart. I will be always in your heart." But Abraham noticed some shakiness in Paul's voice and tears in Paul's eyes because she was crying by her heart, not by her eyes. Paul was invited by mom and dad to come visit us in the States. I was so excited that I could not sleep the night before. The day Paul arrived, mom and dad took me to the San Francisco International Airport. I was going to give Paul a big hug, but Paul called out, "Oh, be careful, Abby. I've got my hands full." In Paul's hands was my favorite Chinese pastry that weighed about 30 pounds. So now Abby was so crying. Abraham was so crying that I want to go to Po. I want to go to Po. So the mom and dad of Abraham decided that they will invite Po uh, because she was alone in Taiwan. So they decided to invite in America to America. So Abraham was too excited that he couldn't sleep at 3-4 night. He couldn't be sleep for night before because he was too excited. Then when at morning Po arrived at the airport, mom and dad and Abraham go to the airport that is namely San Francisco International Airport. I was going to give Abraham was going to give Paul a biggest hug, but Paul said him that, "Oh, be careful, Abby. I've got my hands full." So Paul's hands were in Paul's hands was Abraham's favorite Chinese pastry that weighed about 30 pounds. Paul had insisted on hand carrying it halfway around the world so that the delicious and delicate pastry would stay fresh and look nice, not squeezed or mashed. I could just write a whole book about nice things that Paul has done for me, but I can never fully express my appreciation for Paul. Paul is the most caring and loving person that I have ever known besides my own parents. By the way, Paul is 72 years old now. She is the mother of my mother. As a matter of fact, Po is a Chinese word for grandma. So, why Po told Abraham that wait? Because she was having some pastries in her hand, and she was insisting her to. She was carrying the pastries in her hands because it looks delicious and fresh. If she will put in the box, so it would be squeezed and smashed and not be nice. So Abraham, this is all story of Paul. Now Abraham is telling us that he would write all of the book about nice things that Paul had done for him, but I can never fully express my appreciation for Paul. Paul is the most caring and loving person that he had ever known. Besides my own parents. Besides his own parents. By the way, do you know Now Po is 72 years old now. She is the mother of my mother, means she is the grandmother of Abraham. As a matter of fact, Po is a Chinese word of grandma. Wasn't it so interesting story? So it is made by Abraham Dozo. The story is made by Abraham Dozo, and it was really so interesting story. Do you like the story? Please like and subscribe to my channel. And also, I want to tell you that this story that Abraham had made, this story is a Chinese story, but Abraham just translate into English for understanding us. But it was too exciting. I mean, but it was too nice story. Hope you like it. And please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.